This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why need a cameraman when you can just do it yourself? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. Hey guys, it's Friday, so it's time for the Retro Buzz, and we've got an interesting show for you today. Well, we have a fun show for you, but Glenn has no other time to play video games, so he decided he was going to play today while we do the show, apparently.
You know, I just had my Wheaties and I took my shirt off and I decided to play some video games, man.
Did you get all greased up? So your muscles are glistening in the jungle?
Yeah, I do that normally. I always grease myself down.
There you go.
Okay, that just went in a direction that I really did not want it to go at all.
Hey, man, it's me. You started it. You know I'm going to finish it.
Oh, my goodness. Anyways, we've got Mr. Doug Smith here in the house. The sanity behind the madness that we've got here today. Well, guys, we've got a pretty good show for you here today. And before we get into it, Doug, I know you got a whole list, but a show of hands out there in the chat room who all picked up the Skyward Sword. We know Glenn did not, and if he did, it would be still in the package.
Is that new game on the Intellivision? Is that a new Intellivision game? No.
No.
So I was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll raise my hand. I got it. Like I said, I picked it up at lunch today. Haven't opened it, played it, but I picked up a copy.
Yeah, and Glenn, this is his new game that he's playing, Akari Warriors.
Yeah, I'm getting murdered. I can't get past it. Like 2 seconds in, I'm getting annihilated. This game is brutal.
Yeah. So
it's not these new fancy games where you get free passes. You know. Yeah, play it back in the day.
I was telling Doug in the pre-show. I said, I picked this up, but if you notice, it's empty. Besides the receipt, I always keep my receipts in there. And he says, "Well, so somebody else playing it?" And I was like, "Yeah, my wife wanted this game as well." So I, like a dummy, pre-ordered from GameStop, which they had like some kind of free poster, which I'll probably not even get.
It'll be bent in like 60 different triangles.
Why'd you mention poster? Now I'm wondering where my posters for Retromania again.
Well, yeah. And so I'm punishing myself, and I gave my wife this one because I picked it up at Walmart today. And I was like, you know what? Shame on me. I should learn by now not to pre-order things. I could just go into the store and buy it because, well, that's the reality with these games, right, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, very seldom does anything actually like fly off the shelf and sell out and is in limited quantities in terms of the video games themselves. Now, the console, completely different story, but the games themselves, I mean, yeah, you might walk into a GameStop and they might be out, but then you can go to Walmart or Best Buy or Target or whatever. Somebody in town's bound to have the game you want that comes out whenever. I mean, it's just luck of the draw at that point. They produce these things in mass quantities.
Yeah, and I'm with Rexer on this. He says I'm still finishing Link's Awakening. I finished that complete, 100%. Found everything, did everything, but I just can't sit down with the Breath of the Wild. I know I'm going to get attacked for that, but I can't get into it.
Can you give us a status report or a progress report of where you're at on Breath of the Wild or any of these Zelda games?
Yeah.
Well, I had an Altoid. Is that the same thing for your breath?
Oh, jeez.
Those Altoids, they're pretty good. And they're cheap. I have no problem finding Altoids anywhere. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Wow.
There's your answer, Doug.
Altoids.
Uh-huh. Well, Doug put together a nice list.
We have peaked.
I don't even know what to do with that one. We're just gonna move on. This week in gaming.
Don't encourage him.
This week in gaming, we all decided we were going to talk about this today. The Steam Deck, not to be confused with Stream Deck.
Make sure you get that right. Steam Deck, not Stream Deck, which coincidentally Elgato also announced their new version of their Stream Deck on the same frickin' day. And whoever, obviously they had no idea that Valve was going to drop this and announce this, and it's just bad timing, bad luck on their part. But I guarantee you their entire marketing department just threw everything up in the air and said, well, we quit. Well, because if you search Stream Deck, guess what pops up?
I was just going to say, I am taking bets right now, guys, to see how long this lasts. I bet Steam has to change the name of this to Steam something, because I think Elgato's going to hit him with a lawsuit.
It's not even like a lawsuit. It's a dumb name.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you see, where do you come up with a Steam Deck? Like, it's a handheld game.
The Steam portion makes sense. It's the deck.
Right.
I mean, that's just like, call it a handheld. Call it anything but a deck. I mean, I feel like it was just the intern was there on a Friday afternoon and everybody had already left, and he's like, I don't know, Steam Deck, sure.
Steam on the go.
Put it in the PowerPoint. Send it onto the internet.
The Steam train.
Let me close this.
Anything like that.
Let me close this ad. So, Glenn, before we get into specs of this, do you see yourself picking this up? I know you're not a big fan of the newer games.
I knew you were going to answer that question. It's a similar question. What pinball machine does Doug like? It's not my cup of tea. I know the generation of gamers now like doing that and playing the Steam games. It's just not my forte. So it's a big no from me. I want the physical media. I know people enjoy that type of stuff, but no, I would not be picking that up.
And what is it? $399, Doug? Is that what they're shooting for?
Starting price, yeah. And then they had
that's rough.
A middle version and a higher version. But I mean, if you look at the specs, just the bare bones specs, it is actually pretty impressive. Now, my only concern is like, can they get this to the market in a timely fashion? Because the longer it takes to get this out, the quicker this technology gets outdated and surpassed, and something else comes out there. But the 16 gigs of RAM is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Specifically for a handheld, most of the time, even like a mini computer or a mini PC that you can find from 10,000 other, Chinese or Japanese manufacturers, they almost always have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 16 is really where you want for your higher end newer games. So that's great. It's got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. I mean, it's got all the bells and whistles you could possibly want. And if you don't like the Steam OS, you can completely wipe it, throw Windows on there, and turn this into a powerful emulation console. If you want to go that route, that'll play much more advanced systems farther than PS1 and Dreamcast, which is where a lot of things kind of tap out and crap out in terms of retro emulation handhelds on the market today.
And they said a few of these games would not play natively on this box, and that's where people were like what you said, Doug, put Windows on it and do it if you really need those games. But they said the majority of the games that people own in their catalog should play on this.
Yeah.
So
time will tell if that turns out to be a true statement, or if they're just giving us the hard sell where it's like, hey, it's magic, it does anything and everything, don't worry about facts, just listen, buy. But 3 different sizes, tiers. It's got expandable memory, except for the SSD, which is the number one thing most people would want to expand upon. But it's kind of like that Apple thing. They get you and they make you pay that premium for the memory.
But you know what? I think I would buy this over that other emulation device that was based out of the UK. That's slipping me. It's escaping me. You remember with the cartridges, the retro cartridges?
Yeah, but I mean, that's like an apples to oranges thing, though. Like, one's meant to play retro gaming cartridges, and the other one's a computer in your hands.
But you can emulate it.
You can. I mean, you can emulate 90% of retro games on a phone these days. It's just not ideal to play them.
I understand that people use that for Dragon's Lair, their phones. I hear that's something that they're doing. Cell phones and Dragon's Lair.
And scoreboards, yeah.
I mean, I think the size of it, I think the ability to control like your mouse with it, if you see it has like the thumb pads with it, I think that's pretty innovational. I'm not sold yet on the button positioning. Like, I'd have to play it. They look kind of odd.
A lot of people have definitely said they don't like the D-pad, the buttons, and the thumbsticks all being in line.
That's kind of weird.
Obviously, I can't feel it in my hands until I get a physical sample. So sure, it may look bad, but it may work. And it's also fine print that says things may change. This is not the final version. Things are subject to get revised. So they may revise it completely. They may move some things slightly. To me, it reminds me of a Game Gear.
Yeah.
Anything, just like looking at it, because the Game Gear was a little bit awkward to hold. This one's a little more ergonomical because you can see it's got grooves in the back as well as those paddle flipper buttons. But it reminds me of that bulky Game Gear, to where it's like, okay, this is cool, but it's also not exactly the most hand friendly. So I mean, you're not gonna get this for a kid, and if you do, your kid's already on the MIT program or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is for a very specific niche. I personally pre-ordered. Well, I say pre-ordered. I paid $5 to get in line to have a chance to buy this later on down the line, which is the state of current video games these days, where you have to pay $5 to get in a line to have a chance to buy something.
So it's non-refundable.
Yeah, so
What?
they got my $5.
Well,
Dude, that's like Big Mac fries and something on a special. Let's
Yes.
I know you said this isn't the final design, but I mean, looking at that, I mean, Glenn, you built a lot of different devices and even portable devices, and you can see the outline where your hand's supposed to go.
Yep.
Doug, you're a tall guy. I'm a tall guy. I got big hands. You got big hands. I can't help but wonder, looking at this picture, if by accident the palm of your hand or your thumb, right where it joins, is going to hit that touchpad. That makes me kind of nervous, reaching over to that joystick.
That was my initial worry and concern more than anything. Not so much the D-pad and the button placement, but those, my palms, inadvertently hitting those touchpads, which I'm just hypothetically speaking, it could be an absolute moot point if there's a setting that just, inactivates the touchpads when you don't want to use them, or turn them on when you do want to use them. I really like there's a button for an ellipsis. I really don't know what that's all about. It just, why is there an ellipsis button on there? Like, the internet doesn't even know how to properly use an ellipsis in a chat. So why is there a button on there? So I don't know. Maybe that's the menu button, but for whatever reason, it's got an ellipsis icon on there.
So how do you find out if you are picked to get this? Is there a certain amount of pre-orders? I didn't read the article all the way through on this. Is there a certain amount that they've given you? Have they talked about it? Because I couldn't find anything on that.
So if there was, I never saw any details. I saw the interviews with the developers, and they said, we want to sell millions of these things, blah, 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 just a lot of high talk, high praise, blah, blah, blah. We made the greatest thing since sliced bread. And they said they wanted it out for Christmas time, and then they started backpedaling on that and said, well, it may be a Q2 2022 type of thing. And I honestly, even if they said, it's going to be out for Christmas, I would be super skeptical that, just given the current, shipping conditions that we're in, which are only going to ramp up and get even worse as we approach the holidays. So I have zero expectations that this will actually reach consumers by 2021 end. So even if I do have a chance to buy it and pay in full and everything, I don't expect to see this until the winter of 2022. And I'm also interested in something that they've made mention of, but never really released any further details of pricing, a dock. So to be able to dock this, play this on a TV, the dock they showed specs of had 2 DisplayPort outs, which opens some cool possibilities of it, but they offered zero pricing, zero availability. That's just kind of yeah, we made a dock. It's like a prototype, but that's as far as they went with, basically spelling that out any further.
And I haven't seen anything. Jamie in the chat room, Loken said about, what kind of battery life is it? And he also asked, does it take 12D batteries like the Game Gear? Laughing, but I don't remember
battery
seeing
life.
anything.
Yeah, battery life. They said anywhere from 2 to 8 hours. So
there's a fraud.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean,
Jeez.
To be fair, would make sense. I mean, if you're playing something that's super high end, obviously it's going to drain it. I would expect to just cut that down the middle and say 3 to 4 for your average person, which is more than enough.
So when you're playing Killer Instinct or Mortal Kombat, you better have that sucker plugged in, is what you're saying.
The big problem is you can't get Tesla power walls now, so you're not going to be able to plug it into that.
True.
I don't know. I was on the fence about it. Part of me wanted to I actually got excited about it. Like I said, I almost bought the Evercade.
That's what it is. Yeah, that was
Evercade.
That's totally different animal. It's a portable,
but
we're talking complete class differences with that.
But then I was like, I'm kind of torn. And there's another handheld we're going to talk about a little later. But I don't know, guys. Doug, maybe we'll just wait and see what you have to say about it.
A question on this.
I'm always the guinea pig. Don't worry.
Yeah.
When Sony came out with their handhelds, they were around $300 to $400.
Bought it
at the time, were they not?
Bought
it.
Yeah, I was. So I mean, it was a portable PlayStation 2, which at the time was
the PSP.
Right. Yeah. Right. So this thing is horsepower wise, you're getting basically that kind of performance out of the machine. So in that respect, it's not a horrible price. But I agree with Doug though. Time frame, chip shortages, shipping shortages, it's not going to happen.
Well, and I'm one of the few that's a big fan of the PS Vita because I enjoyed playing my PlayStation 4 games and 3 games remotely on that thing. I thought it was a great concept. I know a lot of people didn't like the Vita. They were glad it died, but I still play my Vita. I like it. I'm one of the few, but, you know, I thought it was a good system.
Yeah, well,
For the
whatever
money.
makes you happy. Doesn't matter what system peripheral you play it on, as long as you're playing games and having fun. That's really all that matters.
Speaking of having fun, the internet was abuzz this week, right? With Arcade 1-Up for
People love to have fun.
well, a certain X party, right? Came
Yep.
out in pre-order, right?
Yeah. So the xMen, very anticipated, highly sought after arcade 1-Up cabinet, came out, and I'm not surprised, but for whatever reason, everybody else seemed very shocked and surprised when the price was shown and announced. And in true fashion, it unfolded almost exactly like the previous 2 weeks ago. I made a video and said, please don't recreate this nightmare. And guess what? They recreated it like word for word. But yeah, the Ninja Turtles and the Street Fighter 2 cabinet, when those came out 2 weeks ago, they were flooded with issues. And guess what? It happened all over again. So Arcade 1-Up was the first to put up their pre-order, and it was $7.99. Oh, not $7.99. It was $6.99 plus $75 shipping plus tax. So all in total, most people, if you pre-ordered it from Arcade 1-Up, you're looking at $800 shipped to your door.
Way too much.
Way too much.
Which is a crap ton of money. There's no way to say anything about it. It is a lot of money. I don't care what your income status is, but obviously people are still going to be willing to fork that over. I mean, people buy expensive things all the time, so I'm not going to judge. You do whatever you want with your own hard-earned cash. And then subsequently, in true to form fashion, another retailer shortly after puts up the exact same listing for cheaper. So Target comes out and says, hey, we'll sell you the same thing for $599. Now, one caveat was initially their website listing didn't include mention of a light-up deck protector. So you're like, oh, okay, well, technically Arcade 1-Up did offer something exclusive. It's just going to cost you $200
Wait. Can I stop you there for real quick?
Sure.
You're saying that they were going to put a light-up deck protector on this?
Oh, they are. There's no if.
That's a stupid, like, that's the dumbest feature I think they have.
Right,
Am I wrong? Do you have one?
No. You need a jukebox. There has to be
No,
a
that's-
jukebox mode or deals.
Forget
off.
that. Doug, do you have any of the Arcade 1-Ups with the glowing?
NBA Jam. Mhm.
Okay. Dumb?
Gimmick.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
It's subjective. Somebody thinks it's the greatest thing. I personally don't like it because it sounded neat in concept, and then when I saw it firsthand, I was like, oh,
It was
all this does is
trashly
make
implemented.
All the scratches,
Yep.
the dirt, the grime, anything that's on that, all it does is like make it stand out like a sore
Well,
thumb.
while you were talking about the price, I wanted to hear that because
Mhm.
from the pictures, and a friend of mine had one, and I was like, this is garbage. This is like, I'm not paying extra for a light-up deck protector. Sorry,
But-
Arcade 1-Up, but that's the truth.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's done on purpose. So, like, when a new console comes out, GameStop is always like, hey, we know you've tried to buy it elsewhere. So, guess what? We're going to sell you a controller charger, an extra controller, some other games you don't want. So, they bundle things in so they can make more money on the back end. And that's the whole reason Arcade 1-Up is selling this direct to begin with. They're not offering you anything whatsoever exclusive that you can't get at another retailer, which is why I've been pleading with them to stop selling direct if they're not going to offer the consumer anything of value. I don't care if it's a freaking xMen keychain. Arcade 1-Up, if you're going to sell things direct, you need to offer something of value that the consumer cannot get at the retail level. If you're going to be charging $200 freaking dollars more in total for the exact same thing, and the customer doesn't get it 9 months in advance, or, you know, again, that shiny new keychain, then you're absolutely stealing money and you're being absolute thieves.
No, I agree with that. Especially since the modding community, most of them can make a light-up deck protector. I mean, yeah, you don't get this the inscription like on the NBA Jam. It has like the 3-point line and all that stuff where you're just grinding into it. But if you're artistic, you could probably do it with a Dremel. And like Bobby Vu, there's not even a thought in my mind that man couldn't do it on a deck protector. But let me ask you guys.
Clean like a mother on top of it.
Let me ask you guys: did any arcades growing up? Do you remember any light-up deck protectors that you can think of off the top of your head?
No,
control
but
panel
they also didn't have
runs lit up.
Wi-Fi. I mean, they're trying to
I
implement and add value, but what they're doing is they're forcing that added value to the consumers. It's not a la carte. Like the consumers don't have the option to pick the light-up marquee, the stool, the light-up deck protector, the Wi-Fi. They're forced to pay the bundle premium price, and that's where people are definitely getting the
But-
the wrong impression.
But here's
and
where I'm
getting
going
rubbed
with
wrong
that.
completely.
Here's where I'm going with that. They're trying really hard to make these round of arcades look like the originals, where with the coin doors and all this other stuff.
They're
Get
making
rid of the
steps in the right
stupid light.
direction.
Get rid of the light up, deck protector. You don't need that. Like you said, give us something else to buy direct. Make it more authentic, right?
I mean, it just at the end of the day, it comes down to it's a business strategy. Like that $2 LED strip that is lighting up the deck protector. They're bundling that as a $50 increased value so they can raise the market value of the machine. Does it truly add value to the machine? Most people will probably say no, but there's people out there that just think it's cool and think it's awesome. Oh my God, look at it. I got a disco ball on my control deck,
Now, I know Gamer Mom, she likes everything, like the light up kick panel, and that's her thing. So she didn't just take it and I get it. To some people, they want to glow the heck out of their arcades.
Absolutely, yeah.
I like just the glow coming off the back. That's just me. But, I mean, there is a very, very small audience that really likes to light up their whole machine.
Oh, absolutely. There's people that love
that.
light up buttons. I can't stand arcade buttons that light up. That's just no for me. But I know there's a ton of people out there that absolutely love it. The NBA Jam, when it got its light up button version, I mean, there was a lot of comments I saw on threads and message boards and Reddit's like, oh my God, I wish I had that version. And me personally, I'm the guy that's like, oh my God, no, I don't want that version. You would have to pay me to take that version. So it's, again, different strokes, different folks. But I think for the most part, everyone can agree that $800 is a lot of money.
Yes.
Especially when another retailer is selling the same thing an hour later for $200 less.
Oh, wait till it goes to Canada.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good
What
point.
are they gonna pay $1,000? No way.
Yep.
It's Canada. I mean, they're paying a goat and a milk, a
Oh.
carton of milk, and
here's Jamie. Jamie coming in with a great comment. Who doesn't want a light up deck protector? It shows all of your grimy fingerprints. It's sweet.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, it sounded cool on a drawing board when they were coming up with ideas to add bells and whistles, so to speak. But when you experience it and you play on it for at least like a week, you just look down and you're like, oh my God, everything's grimy and greasy, and like there's no amount of like wiping that thing down that gets it away. And since it's plexiglass, it's already subject to getting scratches and swirls
I can
from
tell you
constant
who
cleaning and
would
wiping.
love that. I can tell you exactly who would love that. Novus number 5.
Yeah, there you go, because it gives them more reason to have people buy their products.
Yeah, and Deputy Van Halen, he's saying, larger screen, better joysticks. That's something that I think a lot of people have clamored for the last year at least.
True. But that's another thing, and this is where people get really mad at me because I'm always quote unquote voice of reason, but like people need to maintain perspective. Like
it's a 3/4
everyone
cap.
surrounds themselves in these echo chambers and they think everyone agrees with them. Like we talk on these internet, message boards, and we all, gather around and like we have people that share our own ideals and beliefs, and we're like, yeah, we know what's best. And
pitchforks up.
I'm willing to bet the vast majority of arcade one-up consumer cabinet sales have been to people that, number one, don't care about 90% of the things we complain about. Number two, don't even know the difference between a crappy joystick and a good joystick.
True.
And number three, I mean, they don't know the difference between good Pac-Man, bad Pac-Man, what side the Galaga button, fire button should be on. All these, mistakes, headaches, and things that we complain about and give Arcade One Up tons and tons of crap. The vast majority of their clientele doesn't care and isn't aware of that type of thing. We fool ourselves into thinking that everyone's demanding these things, but everyone is really just a small sampling of the people on the internet.
I'll raise my hand. I've not changed any of my joysticks in any of my arcades because I couldn't give two hoots about it. Like, as much as the kids play it, I'm not doing competition. I know you guys all like Sanwa this and Haps that, and I get it. That do what tickles your fancy, but my at games, I haven't changed the joysticks in it. I just play it. You know what I mean? And I don't get too technical with it. And I've never had somebody come in, to your point, Doug, that said, dang, it'd be really cool if these were Haps or Sanwa joysticks. But I get it from what they're saying. They're spending the money on these $699, $700 cabinets. Give them Sanwa if they want. I mean, I'm not going to,
for sure.
You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? Like, I'm totally cool with that.
I mean, I know time has passed since then, but like I remember the special edition Marvel Superheroes cabinet that they sold exclusively through their website for the first time, came with the Sanwa buttons and a joystick, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is great, this is value." And then they later went out on some talk shows and said, "Oh, it was too expensive. We can't do that again." It was too expensive at $499 for them to include Sanwa joysticks and buttons. We're selling cabinets now for almost $800.
Yep.
Same buttons, same
pricing
joysticks.
themselves completely out of their own market.
And
I mean, you say that, Glenn, but here's the thing. Going back to that, echo chamber of everyone saying this is too expensive, nobody's going to buy it. I'm walking away from Arcade One Up. They're losing their customers. No, guess what happened with the xMen cabinet? So within an hour and a half, it disappeared from the Arcade One Up's website for direct sales. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Target was sold out of their pre-orders. And as of the making of this video right now, you cannot pre-order the xMen cabinet because it is currently sold out. The only option currently right now is on GameStop, and GameStop is yet to make their listing active. Best Buy hasn't listed anything. Walmart's nowhere to be found. So for all those people saying, "Oh my God, it's too expensive, nobody would ever buy it," guess what? Everyone already bought it.
well,
Not me.
yes and no, because they might only had 20 pre-orders. They're not going to tell you. But I get what I get what you're saying. But yeah. Jamie's 100% right here. And he says, we created this monster. He said,
100%.
We did. We asked for light up marquees. Then we asked for matching risers. Then they figured out, hey, people will pay more for this stuff. So we created this. So
100%. And it will continue to snowball until it reaches a litmus or an ending point where it can no longer sustain itself. And I've told people this numerous times, like, I don't want to see your complaints of blah, blah, blah. I'm quitting Arcade One, blah, blah. Like, if you don't want the product, don't buy the product.
Right.
Vote with your wallet. If their sales decline, they will change things. If their sales continue to rise or, stay where they need them to be, they don't care about your whining and griping. They're still making money. They're still meeting their sales quota. If it's not for you, it's going to be for somebody else right behind you. So until they feel a gut punch in sales or products or something, they're going to keep on keeping on, whether you like it or not.
And Doug, I'm one of Glenn. Doug. I'm one of the few that don't like the. I mean, I like the risers. Don't get me wrong, but I would be happy with just the black riser. So if Walmart came out with this cabinet for $300, Glenn, wouldn't you buy it for $300 and throw a black riser on it?
That I would. I mean, to be honest, these I really enjoy them. I'm playing on one now. I enjoy them, but there comes a point where you're getting up to the grand mark. Do you start considering going with the real deal? Do you start saying, for a little bit more, yeah, you got to work on it, but I can have the real, actual machine, because that's the whole point of the Arcade One Up when it first came out. Anyway, was it was $299. It was kind of cool. You could bring it home, get a bunch of them, but getting close to the $1,000 mark. To me, I'm going to agree with people who are the purists saying, at that price point, for maybe $1,100, you get an actual real NBA Jam, real Star Wars arcade. And yes, there's going to be some maintenance involved with it, but you can now have the bragging rights. I got a real machine versus I spent $800 and got
a toy,
a clone copy of it with stuff I got to modify anyway. I'm going to put in a better joystick. I'm going to put in a better screen. I'm going to change it to something bigger. So for me, that once you started getting past $499 or even at $499, to me, I don't think that they're offering you enough with kind of what Doug said before. And yeah, did we create this monster? I think we did, but we were doing it with all of us in the hearts in the right place. Sure. We saw the potential in here and these companies doing all this, but we didn't expect them. And again, they have every right to make money. They have every right to have a price and people buy it and make money, of course. I guess we're all saying, at least people I've talked to, just feel like it's getting to the point where it's not a fair one-to-one, the quality of the items you're getting for that price increase. If the quality was really there, people probably would go for it. I and other people don't feel that quality tipping point, no matter what that is, no matter what they pay for the license, I don't think they're paying that much for a license, to be honest, is worth that price point. Will people pay it? Absolutely. Will people not buy it? a lot more I'm going to say is yes until they have a closeout. You know that's going to happen. If you wait, okay, maybe you won't get that light up depth protector. Okay, maybe you won't get the special riser, but there's third-party sources for that. And to be quite honest, to me, that's kind of what the community's been more about, to take these machines and elevate them up. I think maybe it might be a mistake at this point from the way it's coming out from the companies, what they're doing in-house. Because I don't think the quality is there for that price point.
But at what point do you say, I would rather you have a Legends Ultimate from At Games, $4.99, $5.49, depending where you get it, right? You can play this game on there. No matter Arcade Net, whatever.
iArcade. You have iArcade. You're getting it to the price point of a machine now.
But you're getting a bigger screen.
Quality.
You're getting bigger screen, better joysticks. Yeah, you're not getting the artwork, but you could get your own custom artwork if it really matters to you. At what point, Doug, like you said, vote with your wallet. At what point do you say, I am not putting $800 down on a cabinet that's made of particle board?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to value versus perceived value too, because when Arcade 1-Up came out to the market, I mean, I'll tell you realistically, they could have priced their original Wave 1 cabinets, even with all their flaws, at $800, and they would have still sold out because there was nobody else in the marketplace doing anything like it other than, you know, some mom and pop shops that could absolutely not, you know, sell to the average consumer in a Walmart, things like that. Years later, though, we've got iArcade, we've got At Games, we've got all these other people that are competing for that same retail and niche space in this home arcade, you know, demographic that they've essentially created. So that $800 or $700, $600, $500, wherever you put that line, you definitely have to offer more bang for the buck than ever before, because there's other alternatives out there where people can take their money. So that's why I say, don't whine, don't complain, because it's not going to do anything. It's not going to change anything. They're not going to go, oh my God, Joe Schmo on the internet says he can't afford $699 and he'll never buy an Arcade 1-Up again. Scott, what do we do? You know what Scott's going to say? Oh, well, next guy will. So until, again, somebody feels a hurt on their pocketbooks, their sales, something, and forces them to change, innovate, do something, it's going to be business as usual. You don't have to like it, but you have to accept it.
And the thing is that I will say still Arcade 1-Up is definitely the Atari or the NES, you know, of the current generation. They're still the top dog. You know, they're still the number one person out there. So I guess we may be more critical to them because of that, because we watched them grow. We've had a lot of communications with them. You know, they're a good group, but I guess from my standpoint, I just think that $899 or even getting up that price is just really going against the people who supported them in the beginning. It happens. You know, you start building a momentum. You got a fan base. You raise prices. I get it, but for me, to me, it's just too much.
Glenn, you have to behave now. My mom's in the house. She said hi, so you can't say anything that's going to get me in trouble.
Why do you make it sound like I'm the bad guy here? Doug is like right there.
But because Doug's not the bad guy.
I'm the quote-unquote voice of reason.
He's the voice of reason. Come on. Yeah. Well, the internet also
Mom, they are lying to you. I am the most gentle, kind person out there. Yeah. They're lying to you.
Well, I'll be honest. I've been waiting for the Simpsons cabinet. I've been waiting for that.
On that finally.
Well, you got the update on that, because I was like seeing all these posts of people going, Arcade 1-Up says there's no Simpsons, and I don't know what you're talking about. And I distinctly remember us showing the mock-ups. Like, we saw it, and I'm going, Doug, I want to talk about this because I want this cabinet. I'm not paying $800, but I want this cabinet. Yeah. What happened?
Where do you start with that? I mean, so they officially announced it, put it on their website, said, hey, we're making a Simpsons cabinet. Here it is. Had scarce details on their website. Sent it out to all these news media outlets. They ran with it, posted these articles, and then 3 hours later they said, oh, by the way, you got to retroactively change your article because you said Simpsons Bowling's on it. We can't say Simpsons Bowling on it, even though there's a freaking trackball that clearly indicates it says Bowling on it. So then they pulled it off their website, and then every time you ask anybody or mentioned it to Arcade 1-Up, they said, Simpsons? What are you talking about? We don't know anything about no Simpsons Arcade 1-Up cabinet. Please, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter or sign up for news notifications that come out 4 hours too early or too late for an update on our greatest and latest arcade machines. But finally this week they mentioned something in passing, like a comment to their own tweet about something about the xMen cabinet. But they said, yeah, by the way, we're going to exactly acknowledge that The Simpsons exists all over again, and we'll tell you that you can pre-order it in August.
But
So it exists. It's not on their website again.
what was it? What was
Nobody else is talking about it. I mean, are allowed to talk about it, but they're saying, "Yo, by the way, we'll pretend this exists again, and you'll see it officially back in August." So,
Doug?
I mean-
How long was the time frame between when they said? Well, I don't know what you're talking about. We never said anything about Simpsons to this one. This says 1 day ago. I'm assuming, right?
yeah. So this is like what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in between. So a full.
They wanted you to forget about it.
Who shot Mr. Burns and where the freak is the Simpsons cabinet?
I think this was a ploy, like crap. We lay all of our hand out. We gave all the announcements that all at one time. And Doug, you were talking about it.
Here's the thing that drives me crazy about this company, because I people call me a shill all the time because I actually do enjoy their products. I love them immensely. What I don't enjoy is their absolute terrible communication and clarity across the board. It's been like this from day one until now. They're on like their 4th PR company. It doesn't matter. It's always been the same status quo. You want information, we'll sprinkle you a little bit of conflicting information here. We'll give you some head scratchers over here. We'll show you some pictures that conflict information that's over here. And bada bing, bada boom, you got to decipher and uncode the message that is the Arcade 1-Up product details and rollouts. So I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked by any of this at this point. But yeah, Simpsons cabinet, it's going to show up miraculously for pre-order. Is it going to be expensive? Yes. Is it going to have more than one game? Yes. Is that second game going to be Simpsons Bowling?
Yes.
Are they going to tell you that until the middle of August? No. Are they going to have pictures on the website that don't match retail product listings? Yes.
Yes.
Are they going to have things that even on their own website are misspelled, or picture A doesn't match picture B? It's got a marquee that's recessed, but picture C has one that's all the way to the front. Yes. Is one picture going to show a sticker coin door? Is another one going to show a molded coin door? Yes, because by God, that's just the way they do business.
You sound like you're bitter or something.
I'm not bitter. I'm frustrated because this is all hanging fruit. I'm not asking them to, give me the secret source code or anything. I'm asking them to do basic logistical spell check, proofreading, and make sure their product information gets out to the consumers in a clear and concise manner. Because by God, if you're asking people to spend $600, $700, $800 for a product, the least you can do is spell check and proofread your product listings.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Doug's Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So Doug he's like, well, listen, he's 100% right. Like, I mean, we all love the products, we use the products, but come on, for Pete's sake, it's asinine.
So what is the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Because literally that's where we're at. Like I said, 3 years in, same thing happening over and over again. You're on your 4th PR company, so you can't blame it on the PR company. So there's a bottleneck somewhere that's preventing this stuff from ever getting resolved. That's what that tells me, because if you change things, cogs out of the wheel, you replace machinery, and you're still getting the crappy output, something's wrong at the factory. Plain and simple.
But you know what? It's not just Arcade 1-Up that are making some.
No.
And I'm going to say this like this, and I say this with all due respect to the company, because I don't own the company, and I don't get any money from the company, and they don't care what I have to say, so I'm going to say it anyways. Making stupid, boneheaded decisions. Okay? They're not the only company. Doug, this company, Nintendo. What were they possibly thinking when they released this OLED? If you don't have a Switch, I get it. But tell me, give me a reason. Give me a reason I should buy this.
Well, I can't give you a reason you should buy this because you already have multiple Switches in your house. But I understand this is basically like a stepping stone, and in between, if you will, like a 1.5 until they can offer something. Because we already talked about it in great detail at this point. There's chip shortages. There's all these things. So everybody was wanting a Switch Pro that had all these bells and whistles, 4K, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they could have probably given you that and got that out in time for this year, but you would have probably paid $500 for it. It would have alienated themselves in the market. They would have lost a lot of the people that have, supported themselves and the company and the product. So this is like something, an appetizer to tide you over. The funny thing about this is I got to applaud Valve for doing a strategic announcement of the Steam Deck on the exact same day that this was going up for pre-order, only hours before. So, like, clearly somebody at Valve was like, hey, let's gut punch Nintendo and show them we mean boss, we're here to play, because that was a smart move on their part.
But, like, this, even down to the guy, who does that? Who comes in from work, sits down where you take your shoes off at the bench and just starts playing? Like, really? Like, at least make it believable. Like, I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm going, come on, Nintendo, you could do better than that. And I'm a Nintendo fan, don't get me wrong. I am. But, you know, they gave us an Ethernet port that was built in that we should have had in Generation 1, and I'm thinking eventually these docks will be for sale, and we could buy it for our Generation 1 or Generation 2 Switches, because it's USB-C, right? It should work. So, or buy the adapter. But I'm like, this was a no-brainer. Did you not think people wanted to play this online?
So again, going back to the whole like value is perceivable, blah blah blah, and everyone, we hate this, we don't need this. This thing is sold out everywhere. I mean, it came out yesterday. It bounced up and down at every single retailer. It's been in and out of stock. Pre-orders are just blowing off the shelves.
Yeah, because you can't buy regular Switches because they're in certain areas.
You can't buy regular Switches. Plus, everyone knows, hey, anytime a new console comes out, there's a great scalping market opportunity for it.
Oh yeah.
There's who's buying it.
Yeah, in reality though, like if you already own a standard Switch Lite, for the most part, you just simply don't need this unless for whatever reason you need a secondary one, because the differences are very minute. So you're going from a 6.2-inch screen to a 7-inch screen. You're getting an extra 2 hours of battery life, which is actually pretty impressive. And you're doubling the internal storage from 32 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes. After that, you're splitting hairs. And was it $350 is the retail price on this OLED?
Yeah, $349
version, the OLED.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless for whatever reason you don't have a Switch and you need a new Switch or want a new Switch, I mean that's who they're catering towards, the new consumer that hasn't jumped on board yet. Here's your new bells and whistles version. But for the original day one people that were wanting that Pro that had 4K, it had some other features that they didn't even know they needed and wanted, this wasn't it. This is essentially the Nintendo Switch Semi-Pro.
And I still think that the new Switch, and I've read articles and I've seen some people posting it that were in with Nintendo, said that first quarter next year, there's going to be a Switch Pro. This is kind of like that holdover because, again, going back to what you and Glenn said about the chip shortage, which I know that being in tech, I think they were stockpiled on these. That's why there's no spec changes. If you notice, there's nothing except for maybe a little bit of battery life. But the chipset's still the same.
Easy upgrade for them. There's like, what do we have access to when all these chips are shortage? What screens can we get? Okay, let's just tweak it a little bit, slap a new sticker on it, call it good. I mean, that's electronics 101. Is like you rebrand something 6 months down the line, you make it smaller, you add some bundle to it, you give it a different color controller or whatever, you repackage it, repurpose it, call it holiday bundle sale, and it goes off the shelves like crazy. I mean, this is nothing new, so people shouldn't have been shocked. I think it goes back to people need to, just garner their expectations a little better. Everyone, gets, again, so enthralled with this echo chamber of everyone telling, oh, this is going to happen. I read this rumor. Well, you read this rumor from the same message board that you started the rumor.
Listen, don't burst my bubble. We're not going to go down this again.
I hate to burst people's bubble with logic.
No, you know what? I see it just like with wrestling rumors and everything like that. You just take it with a grain of salt. But I do believe there is a Switch Pro coming at some point, or whatever they call it. I do believe that. But I agree with you. I think
5 years into the product cycle, I mean, it's
inevitable
for a refresh.
7 years is what the cycle.
I don't bust your bubble, Doug, but Switches have been around for like over 100 years. I mean, I got a ton of them in the house.
Here we
like
go.
$4 a piece.
And Glenn might be buying one of these too, so he can just leave it in the box and put it in a bag.
Yeah, actually, I have my other one right here somewhere. I actually brought it down for you guys. I'll find it there somewhere. It's still in the box.
Glenn's playing that long game, because what do we see this week as well? Somebody bought a sealed copy of Super Mario 64 for $1 million.
That's beyond insane. Stupid.
I don't understand that, because like 2 days prior it was like a sealed Legend of Zelda sold for $870,000, which is more believable to me because it's a 30-year-old or a 35-year-old game.
Mario did better.
It's rare, but Super Mario 64 is newer and was produced in larger quantities, to my knowledge. I mean, just I don't know, but whatever.
I seen a guy, no lie, on Marketplace this week selling Super Mario Brothers, the original, the Nintendo game, no box, no sleeve, no nothing, no manual. He wanted $256 for this cartridge for Nintendo, and I'm like, somebody want to tell him it's not worth that?
That's why I get jealous of your flea market finds, because every time I go to like a flea market or something, there's always that one booth that has like a bunch of VHS cassettes that they want like $10 a piece for, and then like behind a glass case, as if it's like the freaking Ark of the Covenant, they've got a Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt combo game that they want like $25 for. And I'm like, it's literally the most produced NES game of all time. It is not rare. It is not a unique item. And they're like, well, best I can do is $22.50.
And I have 2 of those regular Super Mario Brothers cartridges that are outside of the box that I paid $2 for at a yard sale. They're not worth that. They might be worth $50, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'd have to see what prices are, but
we'll see.
I think this is why people are going toward video game streaming services. And Doug, you have a story in here about a certain company doing this.
So at this point, it's literally nothing more than a story, but news broke this week that Netflix is looking to get into the gaming business, which sounds like a head scratcher initially, but if you stop and think about just the business sense of it, it actually makes sense, because they're competing right now with Disney Plus. Disney Plus is making tons of ground up on them. They've got all this exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. People are absolutely loving it. You got the Marvel shows, you got Star Wars, you got all these amazing IPs. So Netflix is like, hey, how do we combat this? Like, how do we add more value to our service? Well, let's get into the video game business, which sounds cool, but then you also stop and think, well, there's other companies larger than Netflix that have already tried this and failed. Google tried to do the Stadia thing 2 years ago, and they've already shut up shop and said, okay, we tried. Amazon tried. It lasted like 6 months and sucked. Still, technically, you can do stream cloud gaming through Amazon, but it wasn't, there was a Pluto. I don't know. They had some goofy name for their version of it. But hypothetically, Netflix is looking to get some streaming games, and in their initial announcement, they said, well, we're not going to increase the price. That's not going to be true, because they've already raised the Netflix price twice in like the last year. So of course, when they add video games and all these first party publishing deals get inked, they're going to need to, make some revenue up. So they're going to add a separate tier or an add-on price for video games, but it does add value to an already pretty great system. So it'll be interesting to see if by the time this rolls out, society is more, inclined to accept streaming, cloud gaming more so than they are currently. I'm always a physical media person, but things like Steam do entice me, specifically if I can play them in a handheld form factor and I'm not glued to a PC chair and sitting in front of my computer as I am right now.
I just want to bring this up. This has nothing to do with our story.
Glenn
but
disappeared.
I just want to bring this up that only Glenn would decide in the middle of the show to just get up and walk away.
Actually,
it's in his contract.
Yeah.
I totally forgot. I'm sending you a link. I didn't send you the game of the week.
I
just sent you the link. I completely forgot the game of the week. I just sent it to you.
Oh, gee, thanks, Glenn. We've got 10 minutes left in the show. Maybe we'll wait till next week to show, or in 2 weeks to show that game of the week, because there's no way we're gonna get that rolling here to where people can hear it.
Tune in next time.
I was like, where did Glenn go? He just vanished.
I'm watching the thing. I'm like, wait, why isn't he mentioning the game of the week? I'm like, wait, I didn't send him the link for the game of the week.
I just thought you got busy this week and decided that you weren't going to do it, and I was like, okay.
Actually, I've been working. I got a whole slew of them.
Oh, sweet.
It is 5 minutes 25 seconds.
So you guys, in 2 weeks, because we don't have a show next week because I have prior engagements that I had already committed to. But I think, Glenn, you're doing a show with Steve, right?
Correct. So next in our time slot next week, we think we have a name for it. We'll announce it during the next show. But yeah, we will have Steven and myself doing a retro show about a classic console and
about old people stuff.
Old people stuff, right? You got the youngin' stuff here and some old stuff. This one's old stuff.
Speaking of new people stuff, Doug, IR Arcade, what happened?
Yeah.
Let's talk about our friends and our family.
Yeah. So as normal, every week, iArcade does live streams. Jong and the iArcadians, get together, get some new announcements, talk video games. But this one, we got something that was, I think it's been a good 4 or 5 weeks since this was revealed that this was coming to the iArcade. But White Knight, a interesting graphical black and white noir horror kind of intense thriller video game, came out on the PlayStation 4 as well as some other modern consoles, coming to the iArcade. Released today. Want to say $14.99 is the price on that. But,
Was it released today?
I do believe so.
Okay.
I'm going to say that with 80% confidence.
Well, you keep talking about it. I'll look in the iArcade store because I believe it's probably in there. So.
But I mean, it's clearly something different, something modern. Now that may or may not, entice everybody out there. But you can't say that you've played an arcade game that looked like this. I mean, honestly, nobody out there can say that. So iArcade, again, offering something to the consumers that nobody else can really replicate. So whether or not it's a good game, I don't know. I'm going to test it out this weekend because it entices me. It looks pretty cool. Like I said, I've not really seen anything other akin to this, other than I think Nintendo Switch had a game a year or two ago that was like this. But very, very interesting. Like I said, it originally came out in 2015. But White Knight, check it out if you got an iArcade and you're looking for something new and unique.
Yeah, it came out. It is out, so we can get it.
Yep, sweet. There you go.
Sorry, Beat 'em Ups was on. He came on next. So
that's that YouTube algorithm for you.
Hey, I'll tell you.
Yep.
I like Woodhawker, so I can't complain. So, but yeah, I might have to check that out. That looks like a pretty interesting game. I don't know how I feel about the whole black and white thing with it, but I get the dynamics. I do. I just need to spend time. I spend more time collecting games than I have actually playing them as of late. But I don't know if anybody saw. I put out a video on Instagram. It's only like a minute long. It's a feature that I'm actually pretty excited about with the Legends Pinball from AtGames. They released the firmware today that enables the back glass for all your games, your tables, I should say, to have a freeze frame of the back glass where it's there, so you can kind of see. If you're new to the game and you don't know what it is, it's also easy to navigate through. You can kind of see what's on there.
It's more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Black Legends Pinball logo across the DMD scoreboard.
Yeah, it's really good. So if you're not sure, there's a little app a little install in the App Store. Go install it and check it out. Yeah, I'm ready for Skyward Sword. Look, I even wore my Zelda hat today because Glenn didn't even know what that was. So I have to watch my.
You got a turkey on your hat there.
That's probably what he was thinking. He probably thought it was like one of my hunting hats, and it was like a turkey or.
Well, actually, I do have this, so I'm not completely Zelda.
All right.
Nacho. Hold on a second.
Let's see what he's got. But I am excited for this. I want to see how it is, so I'll have to watch my wife play it tonight, and I'll have to sit here twiddling my thumbs until mine comes tomorrow from FedEx. If it shows up tomorrow.
If it shows up. If this even shows up. Can you even see it?
Because it's FedEx.
No, God, no.
You got to get closer, my man, or...
Yeah, it's not good. Well, it's a Triforce. I have a Triforce.
Oh, he has a Triforce.
See that invisible... They see that invisible thing? That invisible thing there? It's a Triforce, okay?
Did you get it free?
I got this... No. This was actually I got from one of my sponsors. I can't actually remember his name at the moment, but... Triforce. Right there.
And Mike wants to know what hat you're wearing. I think it's his iArcade hat. I think it is.
This hat here?
Yeah.
Actually, let's see.
Yep.
It is his iArcade hat.
Gotta do it for Zhang.
Yeah, Angel goes, Angel Hill, she goes, Glenn didn't know what Zelda, yeah, we've been working on him. He does not have any clue.
I know Zelda. He was in 3 Donkey Kong games.
It's true.
Hey, Jamie, I get it. Skyward Sword, meh, give me Cruisin' Blast. I get it. Not everybody's a Zelda fan. I love Zelda, Fax Xanadu, Chrysalis, I
Phantasy Star all the way.
I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, but I like the Zeldas and the games like it. Doug, I think yours probably the same way.
I'm a Final Fantasy guy. Sorry.
Do you like?
I mean,
I meant the
yeah,
other games.
I love
like,
Zelda, but yeah,
Yeah.
across the board, I'm an RPG nut. So
Yeah.
I go deep down that rabbit hole of RPGs, Japanese RPGs.
I think with Final Fantasy, it just never tickled my fancy, and I've never actually sat down to play it. I'm sure if I sat down to play it, I'd probably get into it. But the thing that deters me from it is I'm going to have to put hours and
You're gonna
hours
invest
into
40
it.
to 50 hours for sure.
Yeah. So, and that's, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to do that yet. So, I think that's about all we have with news this week, right? I don't think anything else has kind of hit.
I think people should put a 1 in the comments if they want to see the game of the week late, and a 0 if no.
Well, we're definitely going to show it. Don't put it up on YouTube yet until I just can't get it transferred and in here and encoded and done all that because somebody didn't give it to me. Well, if I play the video, you're not going to hear anything.
Yeah,
well, that's no good.
So,
and I have. What's that?
I said, hence why he's trying to persuade you, Glenn, to hold off.
Yeah, hold off because
not going to be a good representation
all the videos,
of the work you put in.
This is what happens when you get old. I'm like, why isn't he showing it? What's going on?
All the videos I play on the laptop to play on here, so we don't have audio. I do that on purpose so we don't get dinged on YouTube. With yours, I load it into the TriCaster so we can play. I know you guys want to see it, but just be patient until for 2 weeks. You can see it. Glenn's been
or
putting
Glenn
all
can
this
just
in.
play it next week on his show.
No,
yeah, you could do that.
I was bad. No, I was bad. I totally forgot.
Yep,
totally forgot.
That's what happens when you become old and senile.
I know.
It just happens.
I know. It's true.
You know, if my son was here, you would not be living this down. You know that, right?
Your mother was in this live stream.
Yeah, she was. Glenn's not old. It's older. Oh no, Glenn's old. He's older than dirt.
Oh, harsh.
I gotta give it to him because usually, no, in all seriousness, Glenn's usually on it. He usually has it. He usually has it and it's ready to go.
What threw me off today? I'll tell you what threw me off today. I finally got my roof done in the house. That's finally.
Nice.
Forever. Finally got it done. Did a fairly nice job, and I'm trying to get my Tesla panels and Powerwall. So I put that through. I finally got my stuff back on Tesla to do it. I'm like, it's a really good deal. I'm paying less for it than for electricity. But I'm looking at it, and there's a little triangle that says reduced cost. I'm like, holy crap, I got a discount or something? I click on it. I can't get any Powerwalls. They took the Powerwalls off my order because they're behind like 80,000 Powerwalls. I'm like, well, I want the Powerwalls. That's the whole reason I was going with Tesla. If I'm not going to get the Powerwalls, I can go with anyone. So
I get a Tesla. I got a Tesla.
I need that. I want to be able to rub it in people's noses. I got Tesla. But now, because the true fact is, everyone who orders his Tesla stuff will be allowed to go to the promised land on Mars when he becomes emperor there. And I want to go to Mars.
Didn't you see Total Recall? I know how this ends.
I'm going to be the guy doing it. I'm going to be the guy.
Not good. You're going to be the guy on Mars going with his eyes bugging out. That's going to be you, Glenn.
I don't breathe much. I don't eat much. I don't breathe much. I'm okay.
People are going to take that clip, Doug.
Stone was there.
I don't care. I've made it abundantly clear that I'm fine with whatever the internet wants to say, make up about me. So roll with the punches. I don't care.
Well, either way, we'll have that in 2 weeks. We'll have Glenn's game of the week. He's been doing a good job with production. We just gotta work on this, okay, guys. I run a broadcasting show every Thursday, and I think Glenn needs to watch it. But we didn't plan this. But look at Glenn's shirt. Look at Glenn's shirt if we can get it. Look, we didn't plan this. But look that's what it really looks like because he's fading away.
Twinsies.
Well, we did not plan that, and I just happened to see that he was wearing Angel's shirt, this ability upgrades. But I run a broadcasting show, and this is a no-no. He's wearing a black shirt with a black hat, with black headphones, with a black background, and all you see is his head.
I run a basement. This is with ancient equipment, and I got down. I appreciate from you,
dude. But come on, like even in the intro,
I've got ancient equipment, but I'm also buying a Tesla.
That's how I can buy the Tesla by not buying the other equipment. I mean,
listen,
you gotta cut corners somewhere.
I've got a brand new Nintendo Switch, but I've got holes in my underwear.
Yeah. All right, so let me show you this, Mr. Ancient Equipment. All right, here we go. Wait, let me show you guys something here.
Something scurry's coming.
Look, right here. He's got ancient equipment. But look at this.
It's in pristine condition because it's all bagged.
Look how Glenn looks there. Look how Glenn looks here. What
Well,
happened?
first of all, in my defense, I'm inside the game, dudes. I'm not in my basement. I'm stuck on the grid. Do you think they have lights here in the grid? No.
Oh my goodness. Green. Brad's like green screen master Glenn.
Mr. Glenn, yep.
Oh my goodness gracious. Old is way better. Listen,
Thank
guys,
you.
we're only busting his chops about being old. We know Glenn's not super old. I used to have a guy that was a Linux developer that used to come on my show, and we used to say he's 3 days younger than God. He was like in his 80s. So
Oh, okay. I'm way younger than that.
absolutely. So I'm not complaining. Anyways, guys, we're gonna have to wrap this up. We got to move on and move up. I know a lot of you guys are having a good time here, but Mr. Doug, great as always to have you here. And
Appreciate it.
any new action figure videos coming out soon? I saw you did the glow in the dark. I forget what it is. Skeletor glow or whatever it was.
I'm
From
just gonna
He-Man.
use my moment of my standing on the stage and grandstanding to tell you to unsubscribe to Cool Toy, cancel Cool Toy, get rid of Cool Toy.
Yeah, because he costs you money.
It does cost money.
It costs me money because my son wants the toys that he buys. He's like, Dad,
Well,
that's really cool.
And I have the same problem. These women keep coming to me with
Oh.
these thunderstick things. And they're saying, but the husbands are mad because they're spending all this mad money on these thundersticks. I'm like, what do you want from me? It's not my company. It's close.
Oh my, ladies and gentlemen,
So it happens here too.
Glenn Planamento.
Wait, Doug, isn't the new He-Man series coming out on Netflix? I think.
Yeah, go watch it. Don't watch Cool Toy. Go watch freaking He-Man Masters of the Universe Revelation, Netflix exclusive.
Yeah, watch the butcher job that they did on it.
I'm dying to see how they destroyed it.
Oh,
I'm dying to see. From what I'm hearing, it's all about Tila now, because
Oh, ye of
woke
little
culture.
faith.
oh no, I saw the action figures. It looks bad.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it's a new generation. I mean, you could buy the old action
It's
figures
not
too.
the
So
It's not the same, man. Come on.
it's not supposed to be. Have you I love Masters of the Universe, but have you watched it recently? It doesn't hold up.
Well, yeah,
Unless you're
it doesn't hold up, but my
Yeah.
kid still likes it. But
So clearly, they're not going to pander to the same 6-year-olds from the '80s.
but Ghostbusters holds up.
Ghostbusters
The old
wasn't
one
made for
does.
those 6-year-olds.
The real Ghostbusters, the
Yeah.
cartoon,
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
it still
it was
holds up.
also made a little bit later, but yeah.
And then there was
Okay.
Ghostbusters 2018, which was
I will not
which
judge.
was
disaster
awful.
fire.
Jesus Christ, yeah. I will not judge until I see it. I'm a Kevin Smith fan. I know he's behind the series, so that
Okay.
gives me more faith.
We'll see. We'll see.
He's a big nerd in his own right, so
All I
hopefully
know
he
is
would do it justice.
we're going to wrap this show up because SmackDown's on tonight with the first live audience in over 16 months for WWE. Edge is back. We got to watch this tonight. I know Doug's probably going to tune into it at some point. Myself. So we got to watch it live, people.
I like wrestling.
I like it when there's
love it.
live audience. So I'm over the Thunderdome. It's time to move on. Ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Planamento, youtube.com/gplanamento. Make sure you check out next week. Him and Steve will be on in
6
our
p.m.
spot.
Eastern.
Just
Yep.
be there. And they're going to talk about old guy stuff.
Yeah, old guy stuff, yes.
So make sure you guys go watch the old guys. That's what we could call them, the OGs. That'll be the show.
go.
The OGs. The letter O, G.
Listen here, Shunny.
Listen,
Listen here,
it
Shunny.
works. Guys, really appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back again, like I said, in 2 weeks for this panel. And we will see you then. I think Glenn's working on some surprises, so we might have some guests coming up here in the future that I think you guys will like. So, till next time, keep it buzzing.